The time of the year when the calendars arrive, it's nice to think about the high summer, and as far as I'm concerned, the picture for the high summer is the wild waterside garden that grows alongside the rivers and the streams down where I live. It's interesting, this stretch of this river is called Stanbridge, and Stanbridge is the early English for Stonebridge, the stone bridge that I just walked over. So it just shows how long that bridge has been there, and in all that time I don't suppose the waterside garden of these wildflowers has changed. And this is a good thing, because up on the fields, all the modern insecticides have altered the wildflower population terribly. I suppose if my father were alive now as a farmer, he would find it astonishing to see a field of corn without poppies in it. But you don't see poppies in the field of corn nowadays. And on the roadside, instead of the length man with his hook gradually working to cut the grass at the roadside, now we've got the council machines, and they make a very saddening difference to the wildflowers. But the flowers, the wild garden by the riverside continues. And what about this for a domestic garden? It reminds me terribly of my mother's garden. You see, we knew nothing about gardening when I was young, the men of the family, because we were too busy farming. There wasn't time for flower gardening. Although we knew a lot about the countryside, I doubt if I could have identified many of the garden flowers, because the gardening was, if it was done at all, was done by the wives, and the garden of our house was done by my mother. And this garden reminds me terribly of my mother's garden, because despite its magnificence, it is a really magnificent garden, it has a cottage garden quality. Nothing is arranged in rows, nothing is arranged in blocks. Nobody's decided to have a display of a particular kind of tulip or anything like that. Everything is different from its neighbour and put together into a sort of patchwork pattern, and by a lady who reminds me very much of my mother, who managed to do her garden in the midst of doing the whole of the feeding the whole family, making all the bread, making everybody's clothes and looking after the dairy. This lady, in fact, is a very busy woman. She raised a family, played badminton to high club standard, run the local rambling society, and at the same time built that garden just out of clay in very few years indeed.